Welcome to Selling Tri-Cities, where we are selling more than homes. This project was created to share our love and passion for this beautiful part of the country that we are lucky enough to call home. We want to showcase the small businesses, the entrepreneurs, and the beauty that makes the Appalachian Highlands one of the most desirable markets in the nation. But most importantly, we want to introduce you to the people that make this area such a wonderful place to live. So join us as we sell you on our love for the Tri-Cities. Hello and welcome to another episode of Selling Tri-Cities, where we are selling more than homes with Catherine McCain and Aubrey Tellerico. Gregg Pechmann is out today. But we are here with Nicole Teal, the owner and founder of Texture Homes, and she is going to kind of showcase a little bit about her business and the services that she offers and how she can be useful to everyone.
So first off, we would love for you to tell us a little bit about how you got into the world of staging and when that happened for you and why.
Okay. I started Texture Home in 2020, right when COVID hit, January. I had been a stay-at-home mom for about 14 years, and all my kids went off to school. And I love homes. I love interior design. I love real estate. So I just kind of happened upon home staging and thought that would be a great fit for me. And I really felt like it was a need in our area. No one was doing it. We've moved in and out of homes multiple times since living in Johnson City. We moved here in 2006. And so I just know when you walk into a home, if it's been put together and presented well and not, and I just thought that would be a great need that I could step into in the area.
So you started in 2020, right when COVID hit.
Yes.
So talk to me about one of the biggest obstacles you faced, getting started. That's a really hard time to get into business, and you're obviously thriving now. So you've been able to, open that part of your business, but now you have a storefront and a retail space.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people have been able to be that successful in such a short amount of time, especially during a pandemic. So what are some things that you feel like you did to, just to keep going and help you build your business?
I have a lot of realtor relationships, and I think that really was key. I had some really amazing friends that were realtors that gave me a chance on the homes that they were listing, and really vouched for me and my services. And so, it was a huge step of faith, I think, to get started, because I did purchase all of my inventory at once. I bought enough for 2 houses to start, and I do buy high-end designer furniture to stage the homes. I really want the staging to elevate the houses. I don't want it just to look like, oh, I saw that, in TJ Maxx. And I do feel, some holes with some, retail, but mostly I buy wholesale designer furnishings just so it can add value to the homes. So I think those realtor relationships really helped me get going, and then educating the realtors on just the value in staging, and showing them stats and showing them pictures of before and after of spaces. And honestly, it just took that first house to kind of just sell and show the difference of an empty home and a home that's been staged. And stats don't lie, numbers don't lie, and I think the pictures are pretty convincing as well. So
so obviously having a house that's sitting vacant, as realtors we know this, it is harder to sell a home that it's vacant. Yes, you want to declutter and all that stuff, but sometimes it's hard for people to imagine that house kind of being a home. And so what you bring to the table is kind of like almost that vision and that sense of home.
Absolutely. And I feel like a part of my key job is to just make an emotional connection with the buyers. And if the house is empty, the house looks smaller, it feels smaller, it feels kind of void, and just there's no warmth to it. So when you put beautiful furnishings in it and you walk into it, even a green plant, makes such a difference. So I'm trying to connect on an emotional level with the buyers, because if they love the house, they're going to pay more for the house. And a lot of staging, a lot of times houses kind of have things you want to distract the buyers from. We call those the negative, attributes of a home. And then there's the positive features too. And I think staging can really highlight a beautiful mantle by putting, a piece of art or a big mirror over it, or you can draw the buyer's attention. So every room that I stage, I create a focal point. And that just, when you walk into a room, you're looking in one one direction, and that's kind of like a wow moment. And so I try to bring that into every room that I stage too, which is, there's a little bit of psychology and trickery there. Not really, but it's a mental approach to how can I capture the buyer's attention and really create an emotional connection to the space that they're in.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely attest to that, 'cause there have been multiple homes that I have been into that you have staged.
Okay.
As a buyer's agent, and I walk in, and you just immediately like, oh my gosh, like it makes me want the house.
Yeah.
And I'm not even looking for a home, or it might not fit all of my
Yeah.
needs, but just the feeling that you get when you walk in, it really does have that emotional connection.
Yeah.
And I think that is absolutely the value that you bring to like our business as realtors, and also the sellers and homeowners. I think people just don't really understand the value of an emotional connection, and what you're doing. So,
and I'll say too, I feel like a lot of buyers are shopping online because we have so many buyers moving in from out of state. And if you show pictures online of an empty house, you're not going to have as many buyers want to come look at that property. But if it's staged and beautiful, you're probably going to attract a lot more people that will come to the property and actually see it.
That's very true.
And I think so. That's where I'm like, realtors, I'm your friend. I'm your partner. I'm trying to help you get more offers and for a top dollar. And I believe that staging, definitely, I'm seeing it give that return on people's investments. So.
I think that homeowners could probably get double what they would pay for your services back on an offer price.
Yes, the return on investment, and this is from Realtor.com, is like over 405% on their investment in staging, that they're getting that back, over 400%. So I'm like,
that's crazy.
It's a no-brainer, However, people still are just undereducated. I really feel like they don't know the value that it brings. They're afraid to invest the money up front because they're like, what if it doesn't sell? So I do work, primarily I ask for payment up front, a signed contract, and a full payment in full gets it scheduled. But every situation is different, so I do custom quotes as well. But anyway, just to say, every situation is different. Every realtor and their client situation can be a different custom quote and approach to.
Because you don't have to do an entire house. You can have certain rooms, right, that usually highlight what kind of rooms are usually
so
highlighting.
We have like our base package, and we don't just come in and do one room. So there's a package that a starting place, and that just helps me and my team just, know what we're going into every single time, and it helps with the inventory and everything. But that's your entry, like the first room they walk into, the foyer, the entry, the front door, the living room, the kitchen, and the master bedroom. Okay. And that includes like the master suite, the bathroom, and a main floor bathroom. Then we add on rooms. So that's the base package, and then you can add on an office, or you can add on another den or a basement, or a kid's space or something like that. So
I love that you can customize it to what the seller's looking for, and just a home specifically.
Yes.
Because every home needs something a little bit different. You could have like a room that's maybe dark, and you could bring something in to really lighten up the space to show buyers what you can do without even having to change anything aesthetically, as far as
absolutely
structurally or paint or anything. So,
and a lot of people say, well, can you just come stage my living room? And honestly, it looked like a buyer walks in, they're like, why does just one room have furniture in it? So that's the approach that I've taken with, let's do your kitchen, let's do your foyer, let's do your living room, and let's do the master, because I think those are the key areas to kind of just make it feel a little bit more cohesive and spread out, so it doesn't feel like, oh, they've staged this room, like it's more of a package deal for the buyer as well, and helps them get more of a sense of the feel of the home in more spaces than just the living room.
That's a lot about vacant homes.
Yes.
I know I contacted you to stage a home for me where my sellers lived in the home.
Yes.
And they had one specific room that they just could not make sense of. And so we called you, you came and gave us all these suggestions, and I was just so surprised, and they were as well, about how easy the process was.
Yeah.
So could you explain a little bit about that, like from start to finish, from when you get the call from a realtor or a homeowner till when the house sells and you pick up the furniture? So
that would be like an occupied staging, and like I said, that's one of those situations where it's not all the same, because they were living there, but they had one room that was, they removed all of their furnishings from that one room, and I brought in all new inventory for that space and staged it. But from the time I get the phone call, either from a realtor or a homeowner, I really get calls from both. I call the homeowner or the realtor, who has the key to the house, and I schedule a time to come and just walk through the house to make a game plan of, how to lay it out, do all my measuring, get the color schemes as far as my inventory that I want to pull, take lots of pictures, and then I send out a quote to the homeowner.
And for the house that you did for us, I mean, I was just shocked at how quickly you move. Like, you were in and out same day.
Yes, and it's the same day.
Yeah.
I didn't mention that
same
part.
when you picked everything up. The movers just walked in.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was clean and organized, and it's just so easy for the homeowner. Such an easy process.
Yeah. And the contract's 60 days when it's staged, but typically they sell, quickly, typically, and sometimes we're picking up furniture within, because so many homes have sold with cash offers this last year. So I'm back picking up my furniture in 30 days, which is great for my business because then it can go somewhere else. But it's a one day. We come in early morning, stage it, take our pictures, we leave, and when we destage it, the same thing. It's about an hour to 2 hour destage. Typically, we come in, we take everything out, and
and the homeowner doesn't have to touch a thing.
No, they don't have
wonderful.
to touch a thing. Yeah, exactly.
So easy,
so great.
so efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
now you do offer, she touched base on this, it was the homeowner, the seller was still living there, and so they needed some advice and some guidance on how to properly stage their own home, or even just like you said, the main areas, the living room, the primary suite, the foyer, the first thing that buyers see when they walk in. To me, that's overwhelming to me personally as a home, like as a seller. And being able to have somebody who has way more style and design expertise to come in and help I think is huge. So it's great that you offer those types of consultations as well.
Yes, I do. Those are occupied consultations, and those are about 2 hours where I walk from basically the front curb, if they want me to the very back, back of the lot. We walk through all areas of the house, but I'm really teaching them, educating them on what buyers are looking for. So, I mean, that's a huge value that I can give them just by chatting. I call it a walk and talk. They're taking notes, they're taking pictures, they're taking measurements, but we walk through all their spaces, but primarily those key areas like their foyer, the spaces that I would typically stage, and I'm helping them declutter, yes, but neutralize. That's a big word for me. We're going to neutralize your palette. If that means we're going to paint your walls white or get some, neutral colors on your walls, take out all your red pillows, take away your Georgia football blanket or whatever, it is. We're trying to neutralize taste as well as color and specific styles, because you don't want someone having floral curtains that to hinder a buyer that's oh, I can't stand flowers, So I'm trying to help them see this is not about your personal style. This is about getting you as many buyers into your home and getting you as many offers as you can. And that's a 2 hour consult, and they really can be equipped with a list of things they need to go buy to help make it look better, or things they need to move out of the room to create more space. Because we're also I'm trying to help them show their spaces as large as the square footage that's going to be listed. And so if they've got too much furniture in the room, then it's just crowded, and buyers makes it feel small. So I'm let's take this chair out, let's just move this sofa around. So I'll even help them rearrange their space so that it shows better.
I think depersonalization, that's huge
too.
I mean, buyers want to imagine them in that space.
They do.
Themselves in that space. They're not buying that home to keep all of the seller stuff in that space.
Exactly.
So for buyers to be able to walk in and really envision a space as their own, I think is huge, which is why the neutralizing and depersonalization, is that a word? That's a word, right?
I think that is a word.
It's a word today.
But I think it's a good word. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
So
I think it's hard also for sellers to be able to step back and look at their house objectively.
It is.
And so for you to come in and be able to give them those tips, I think is super helpful.
Yes,
Otherwise
absolutely.
they may not know, oh, you're right, the Georgia blanket shouldn't be there. Or
exactly.
Whatever. So
yes.
I think that's great.
Yes.
And that's huge for agents and for us as realtors, because there are times that we feel like we might be hurting somebody's feelings or stepping on somebody's toes, and yes, our job is absolutely to guide them and give them some advice on what buyers are looking for, and we do that. But I feel with bigger spaces, or especially with homes that maybe have a little bit of a higher price tag. We want to bring somebody else in who has that design focus. Like that is what you do for a living, and to be able to have somebody come in and give them.
And
professional opinion.
Exactly. And I have realtors that will like kind of let me be the bad cop, and that's what they'll say, because they don't want to muddy the waters or, feel like they're kind of getting onto the seller. But it also looks good, I think, for realtors. Like I have a stager, that I'm going to send my stager or our stager if you have a team, and so I have become a part of lots of little, agency. Like I'm part of their team, even though I work independently of them. Yeah. But it really is an added value that you get to present to your sellers.
That's brilliant
as well. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So now we're here in this beautiful shop with all this beautiful furniture. Yep. Can you tell us how this came to be?
Yes. So I've always had vision for possibly a little furniture boutique in conjunction with my staging business, separate, but under the same name, Texture Home. And I moved into this space last April, and it already had this showroom, so I was like, let's do some soft launching to see how Johnson City's gonna respond. And Johnson City's been amazing. Like people show up, they come in, they've been buying, and I love this space. So basically, primarily all of this is furniture that I have bought for the showroom to sell. There's a few pieces that I have pulled in here that I have staged with once or twice. If I have staged with it, I just mark it down accordingly. Most of it's about 40% off retail. But it is, high-end designer stuff, and it's furniture I feel like that you really can't find anywhere in this area. Yeah. At least that's what a lot of people are telling me. And I'm hoping to do some customizing with sofas and chairs. That's 2023. I have so many people that have specific needs for sofas and specific needs for chairs, and so I'm partnering with a company that I can kind of help pick fabrics and in different style frames and things like that. So
that's exciting. So I know this shop doesn't have regular retail hours.
Oh, that's a good point.
Can you tell us exactly what they are?
Well, right now, currently, we're just open on Fridays from 10 to 2, and we're on Bristol Highway, right where Roan Street and Bristol Highway split, so 2912 Bristol Highway. And we're looking at opening more hours, more days of the week in 2023. I just don't have that nailed down quite yet to be able to say. But I post social media, my Instagram, my Facebook. I'm constantly putting up my hours and when I'm going to be open, just to try to keep that, but I'm really not, open like this. I do meet people here on appointment.
Right.
What's the best way for them to contact you?
The best way would be to email me, hello@texturehomeinteriors.com, or you can message me through Instagram or Facebook. Either.
What is your Instagram?
Instagram is Texture Home Interiors.
Perfect.
Facebook, Texture Home Interiors. Website, Texture Home Interiors.
Easy.
Pretty
I
easy.
like it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So
thank you so much. Yes, we
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Very
Thank
useful information. I think there's just, like you said, there's a lot of people that just needed to be, educated on what that process looks like, why it's so important, why it's so valuable, and everything that you have to offer, and this beautiful new retail shop too.
Thank you.
So thank you for having us.
Thanks for thinking of me.
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Stay tuned next week for our next episode of Selling Tri-Cities, where we are selling more than homes. Ciao.
Blooper moment.
Okay.
yeah. Blooper moment.
They are so heavy.
It's so cold.
They're so heavy. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Absolutely. She's like